This is totally devastating. Look at this.
But right now, the question was really whether a single judge anywhere in the country could block an executive action for the entire nation. And here, in a historic opinion, the justices are limiting that power. And again, President Trump's lawyers have told me this is the case that they are watching. This means everything for the president's ability.
Trump is absolutely furious right now as entire federal appeals court just stepped in to destroy his legal victory. All 29 judges, every single one, voted unanimously to throw out a ruling that favored Trump, 29-0. Not a single dissent, not even from Republican-appointed judges, not even from Trump-appointed judges. Everyone agrees the original ruling was fundamentally wrong, and Trump is losing his mind, posting furious rants on Truth Social, calling this a judicial coup, attacking every single judge who turned against him. But this is not a coup. This is the entire federal circuit court telling him his legal position is wrong. Judges looking at Trump's executive action overreach and saying enough is enough. Judges deciding Trump has gone too far with presidential power. Too dangerous to let this ruling stand. And here's what makes this even more significant. This unanimous vote to vacate the ruling signals Trump is going to lose big when they rehear this case. The full 29-judge court stepping in to fix what they call a fundamentally flawed decision. This is absolutely massive. Trump's judicial strategy collapsing in real time. Everyone in Washington knows it. Before we get into this, let's be honest. We built John Brown Show to bring you real stories, real context. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe. Your subscription actually matters here. All right, let's get into what actually happened. This is what's called an en banc review. When the full court, not just a 3-judge panel, but every active judge on the circuit decides to rehear a case. And it's rare, really rare. Courts don't do this unless the original decision was seriously problematic, unless it created bad precedent, unless it fundamentally misapplied the law. And in this case, all 29 judges agreed. That's not just rare, that's unprecedented. That's a judicial nuclear bomb. Trump had won at the panel level. 3 judges ruled in his favor on one of his executive actions: immigration enforcement, firing independent officials. Court said Trump has broad authority, can't be questioned by courts. Executive power supreme. Trump was celebrating, using ruling as validation. See, the courts agree with me. I have the authority. Fox News praising, lawyers happy. Everything looked great. Share this video with everyone you know because, and then the entire circuit court said, actually, no, that ruling was fundamentally wrong. We're throwing it out. We're vacating it. We're going to rehear this case ourselves. All 29 of us, because that 3-judge panel got it so wrong, we can't let it stand. Judges across the ideological spectrum, liberal judges appointed by Democratic presidents, conservative judges appointed by Republican presidents, even judges that Trump himself appointed. All of them voting together, all of them saying the original ruling was fundamentally wrong. That kind of unanimity doesn't happen by accident. Doesn't happen unless the legal reasoning in the original decision was so flawed, so obviously incorrect, that even judges who might otherwise be sympathetic to Trump's position couldn't support it. This is the judicial equivalent of the entire court standing up and screaming, "No, absolutely not. We cannot let this stand." Trump's reaction exactly what you'd expect. Pure rage. Truth Social posts getting increasingly unhinged, calling it judicial coup, calling judges political hacks, claiming deep state conspiracy, demanding judges be impeached, attacking his own appointees. Republicans who appointed these judges, everyone who signed on to this unanimous decision, but none of that changes reality. 29 federal judges reviewed this case, looked at the legal reasoning, looked at Trump's claims of executive authority, and unanimously said, no, this is wrong. This threatens constitutional order. We need to fix this immediately. Not just legal setback for Trump. This is massive public rebuke. This is judges. He appointed judges. Republicans appointed saying his position is wrong. His executive action is wrong. His interpretation of law is wrong. And that's devastating because Trump's entire legal strategy in his second term has been to push boundaries, test limits, see how far he can stretch presidential authority. Think about what that means. When he gets wins in court, even small wins from 3-judge panels, he uses them as validation. See, courts agree with me. I have the authority, can do whatever I want. But now full court saying, no, you don't. That panel got it wrong. We're going to correct it. Changes everything. This came down mid-December 2025, right before holidays, sent shockwaves through legal community. Because en banc rehearings don't just happen, require majority of active judges on circuit to vote in favor of rehearing case. Getting that kind of support, getting every single judge to agree, extraordinary, means original ruling so problematic that judges who would normally defer to panel decisions, who would normally let rulings stand even if they disagreed, felt they had no choice but to intervene. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown's show, because when you look at details of what this case about, immigration enforcement, deportations, Trump trying to fire independent agency officials, makes sense why judges across spectrum alarmed. Original ruling apparently gave Trump sweeping authority to do things that violate fundamental legal principles, things that threaten constitutional rights, things that undermine judicial independence and rule of law. And here's really scary part for Trump. When full circuit court grants en banc review, usually because they intend to reverse panel decision, don't go through all this trouble just to affirm what panel said. Do it to fix mistake, correct bad law, prevent dangerous precedent from taking hold. So this 29-0 vote to vacate ruling, not just procedural. Strong signal that when they rehear this case, Trump going to lose. Big time. Unlike three-judge panel decision that might have been ideologically split, this going to be full court decision with massive precedential weight. Much harder to appeal, much harder to challenge, going to set precedent that limits Trump's authority. Not just in this case, but in future cases too. Federal appeals courts organized into circuits, 13 circuits covering different parts country. Each circuit has multiple judges, anywhere from about 6 to 29 depending on circuit. Normally, when case comes before circuit court heard by three-judge panel, just 3 judges randomly selected from full court, they hear arguments, review briefs, issue ruling. Most of time that ruling stands. Losing side might appeal to Supreme Court, but usually don't. Supreme Court only takes about 1% of cases, so circuit court decision usually final. But there's this rare procedure called en banc review. When full circuit court, every active judge decides to rehear case that panel already decided. Courts don't do this lightly. Standard high. Party has to file petition for en banc review, explaining why case deserves this extraordinary treatment. Then majority of active judges on circuit have to vote to grant it. Most petitions get denied. Rare, really rare, because judges generally defer to panel decisions. Trust colleagues, don't want to undermine panel system. So when en banc review, granted big deal, means something went seriously wrong with panel decision. Share this with everyone, because in this case, December 2025, looking at circuit with 29 active judges. Large circuit, probably 9th circuit, covers West Coast, has most judges of any circuit. All 29 judges voted to grant en banc review. Not 15-14, not 20-9, 29-0. Unanimous, not just rare. Almost unheard of. Federal judges have different judicial philosophies, different political backgrounds, different views on executive power, separation of powers, constitutional interpretation. Getting all them to agree on anything, nearly impossible. But here all agreed that panel decision so wrong, so dangerous, so problematic, had to be vacated immediately. Based on sources and context, almost certainly tied to one of Trump's aggressive executive actions. Most likely scenario immigration enforcement. Trump pushing hard on mass deportations, using Alien Enemies Act, ancient 1798 law to try deport people without normal due process, detaining people indefinitely, ignoring court orders, federal judges across country pushing back, issuing injunctions, blocking policies, saying no, can't do this without following constitutional procedures. But apparently 3-judge panel in this circuit issued ruling that sided with Trump, maybe said has broad authority under Alien Enemies Act, maybe said courts can't interfere with executive immigration decisions, maybe upheld mandatory detention without hearings. Don't have exact details, but whatever they ruled gave Trump significant power. Power immediately started using, power that threatened fundamental rights. That's when rest of circuit stepped in. Other judges on circuit read panel decision, were horrified, saw dangerous legal reasoning, saw constitutional violations being enabled, saw precedent being created that would give future presidents unchecked authority, decided can't let this stand, need to fix this before does permanent damage, voted to grant en banc review, all 29 of them, including conservative judges, including Trump appointees, because legal reasoning that bad, when issued order granting en banc review used strong language. Said panel decision fundamentally wrong, not typical judicial language. Judges usually use more measured terms, say things like granting review to clarify law or resolve important question. But fundamentally wrong, that's rebuke. That's full court saying this decision so flawed at core need make clear, doesn't represent our view, need correct immediately. This isn't happening in isolation. Part of massive judicial backlash against Trump's second term. Already seen hundreds of federal judges refusing to participate in Trump's mass deportation efforts. Seen Supreme Court hearing arguments in cases challenging Trump's authority to fire independent agency officials. Seen Senate Democrats walking out to protest rushed confirmation of Trump loyalists to federal bench. Now seeing entire circuit court unanimously rejecting ruling that favored Trump. Judiciary pushing back. Not just liberal judges. Judges across ideological spectrum. Conservative judges who believe in limited executive power. Libertarian-leaning judges who care about individual rights. Institutionalist judges who worry about precedent and rule of law. All looking at what Trump doing and saying goes too far. Threatens constitutional order. Need stop it. Another angle makes this even more significant. Representative Al Green from Texas introduced articles of impeachment against Trump. House Resolution 939, citing Trump's threats against federal judges. Trump attacking judges who rule against him, calling them political hacks, suggesting should be removed, implying consequences for judges who don't rule his way. Some legal analysts believe this en banc decision related to those threats. Judges sending message, will not be intimidated, will not bend to political pressure, will rule based on law, not based on what president wants. Think how extraordinary that is. 29 federal judges, including judges Trump appointed, standing together, essentially defying him, rejecting his position, rebuking his legal theories, doing it unanimously, so no doubt about collective view. Not close call, not controversial decision where court split along ideological lines. Entire court speaking with one voice saying no president is wrong and we're going to correct this. Also connection to another recent case where FBI arrested state judge for allegedly interfering with immigration enforcement. Details murky but involved judge trying to help someone avoid deportation. Trump's allies used that case to attack judiciary. Suggest judges who oppose Trump's immigration policies are lawbreakers, should face consequences. This en banc decision in part responds to that narrative. Federal judges saying we're not criminals for enforcing Constitution, not lawbreakers for issuing injunctions against illegal executive actions. Doing our job, not going to be intimidated by arrests, threats, political attacks. Case will be reheard by full 29-judge court. Both sides file new briefs. Oral arguments before entire court. Incredibly rare and dramatic. Then court issue new decision. Based on unanimity of vote to grant en banc review. Based on strong language about panel decision being fundamentally wrong. Almost certain Trump will lose. Court going to reverse panel, going to rule against Trump's executive action, going to establish precedent that limits presidential authority in this area. That precedent will matter, not just about this one case, about future cases, future executive actions, future presidential overreach. When full circuit court issues decision, especially unanimous or near unanimous decision, carries enormous weight. Other judges cite it. Other courts follow it. Becomes binding precedent for entire circuit. Persuasive authority for other circuits. Trump isn't just losing this case, losing ability to make similar arguments in future cases. Judiciary closing off avenues of executive power Trump been trying to exploit. Politically devastating for Trump. One of his key narratives been courts on my side, winning in court, judges I appointed vindicating my positions. Now has to explain why 29 judges, including his appointees, unanimously rejected ruling in his favor. has to explain why even conservative judges think his legal theories fundamentally wrong. Hard sell. Undermines authority. Makes him look weak. Gives ammunition to Democrats who say abusing power. Erodes support from Republicans who care about rule of law, judicial independence. Also happening critical time. December 2025. About 11 months before 2026 midterms. Democrats going to campaign on this. Going to say even Trump's own judicial appointees rejecting his power grabs. Even conservative judges think gone too far. Care about Constitution. Care about checks and balances. Need vote Democrats provide oversight, powerful message. This unanimous en banc decision gives it credibility. Not just partisan Democrats saying Trump overreaching. 29 federal judges, including Republicans, saying it. Trump panicking. Should be. Major setback. Not just legally, but politically. Not just for this case, but entire second-term agenda. Judiciary drawing line. That line going to constrain what Trump can do, rest of presidency. This matters. Should care. Fundamental question, presidential power, judicial independence. Trump's legal strategy since day one, second term, push boundaries, test limits, see how far stretch presidential authority, approach act first, litigate later, do thing want to do, issue executive order, fire official, ignore court order, fight it out in court, lose appeal, lose again appeal, Supreme Court, meanwhile already done thing, already deported people, already fired official, already changed policy, even eventually lose in court, won in practice. Strategy work to extent. Litigation takes time. Courts move slowly. By time case gets resolved, Trump often already accomplished what wanted. But this en banc decision threatens strategy. When full circuit court steps in, vacates, ruling happens fast. Panel decision immediately invalid. Actions Trump took based on that decision now legally questionable. Message to Trump: can't rely on winning at panel level, then dragging out appeals. Legal theory bad enough, full court step in, shut down quickly. What this says about judicial independence, Trump attacking judges throughout second term, calling them political hacks, suggesting should be removed, implying consequences for judges who rule against him. Fear among legal observers been, will judges cave? Will they be intimidated? Will threat political retaliation cause judges rule Trump's favor even when law doesn't support? This en banc decision resounding answer, no. Judges not caving, not intimidated, standing firm, ruling based on law, not political pressure, doing it unanimously, showing solidarity across ideological lines, huge, critical for survival American democracy. If judiciary becomes politicized, judges start ruling based on what president wants rather than what law requires, lose crucial check on executive power. Whole system breaks down. When 29 judges stand together, reject pro-Trump ruling, not just deciding case, sending message to Trump, to public, to future presidents, judiciary independent, will not be bullied, will not be compromised, will enforce Constitution regardless political consequences. Immigration connection. Case almost certainly about Trump's mass deportation efforts. Matters because immigration, where Trump most aggressive, most willing violate norms, most willing ignore court orders, using Alien Enemies Act ways never intended, detaining people without hearings, deporting people without due process. Federal judges been main obstacle, issuing injunctions, blocking policies, protecting constitutional rights. Trump furious about it, attacking judges, pressuring them, trying find judges who will rule in his favor. Apparently found 3-judge panel gave him favorable ruling. Ruling said, yes, Mr. President, have broad authority immigration. Courts shouldn't interfere. Executive power supreme. Trump probably thought, great. 1, can cite this case, can use as precedent, can push even further. But then full court stepped in, said absolutely not. Ruling fundamentally wrong. Now Trump back to square one. Can't cite case. Can't use as precedent, has to wait for en banc decision. Almost certainly going against him. Implications beyond this one case. Dozens immigration cases working through federal courts right now. Challenges to Trump's deportation policies. Challenges to detention practices. Challenges to Alien Enemies Act. Judges in those other cases will be watching this en banc decision. See full circuit court unanimously rejected Trump's position. Will influence how they rule. Make judges more confident pushing back against Trump. More willing issue injunctions. More willing protect constitutional rights, even face presidential pressure. Political implications. Less than year from 2026 midterms. Judicial independence going to be major campaign issue. Democrats going to run on protecting rule of law. Defending judicial independence. Providing oversight Trump's abuses. Going to point to cases like this as evidence Trump out of control. Even own judicial appointees think overreaching. America needs Democratic Congress serve as check on presidential power. Compelling message, not just partisan rhetoric, backed up by unanimous judicial decisions. Conservative judges joining liberal judges reject Trump's legal theories. Gives Democrats credibility. Makes message resonate swing voters. Independence. Moderate Republicans uncomfortable Trump's norm-breaking. Voters might not love Democratic policies, but care about institutions, care about Constitution, care about checks and balances. Unanimous en banc decision rejecting Trump. Exactly kind thing might push them toward Democrats' midterms. Republicans' tough spot. Largely stuck with Trump. Defended his actions. Attacked judges who rule against him. How explain this? How defend Trump when 29 judges, including judges Trump appointed, unanimously say wrong? Can't just attack judiciary. Can't call all 29 judges political hacks. Some Republican appointees, some Trump appointees. Republicans left either defending indefensible or quietly distancing from Trump. Either way, politically damaging. What happens if Trump ignores a banc decision? Nightmare scenario. What if full court rules against Trump and just ignores it? Says, don't care what courts say, I'm president, doing this anyway. Full-blown constitutional crisis? Hints Trump might be willing go there. Remember whistleblower allegations about Emil Bove allegedly telling DOJ lawyers ignore court orders. Suggests Trump's team at least discuss defying judicial rulings. If does it. Openly defies unanimous en banc decision from 29 federal judges. All hell breaks loose. Congress have to respond. Democrats push impeachment. Some Republicans might join. Judiciary have to decide how enforce ruling. Hold Trump contempt. Issue sanctions. Refer matter Congress. Unclear. Never really been this situation before. Presidents generally comply, court orders even disagree. Nixon complied order turnover Watergate tapes. Trump complied court orders during first term, even ranted about them. But second term Trump different. More aggressive, more willing break norms, more convinced above law. Possibility might defy this en banc ruling, real and terrifying. Supreme Court angle. If Trump loses en banc decision appeal to Supreme Court, ultimate test. Will conservative Supreme Court 3 Trump appointees back him or side with Circuit Court? Fact Circuit Court decision unanimous. Includes conservative judges, Trump appointees. Puts Supreme Court tough spot. If reverse unanimous Circuit Court decision help Trump look blatantly political, undermine court's legitimacy, make look like Trump's appointees just doing his bidding, even if conservative justices inclined side with Trump on merits have to consider institutional damage. Public perception. Hit to court's credibility. Bottom line, this en banc decision major moment, turning point, shows judiciary, even judges appointed Republicans. Even judges appointed Trump has limits. Line won't cross. Stand up for Constitution, rule of law, even means ruling against president who appointed them. Exactly what founders intended. Designed judicial branch independent. Serve as check other branches, protect constitutional rights, even politically unpopular. This en banc decision shows system working. At least for now, at least in this case. Judiciary holding line. Gives hope. Hope American democracy can survive Trump's assault on institutions. Hope checks and balances still mean something. Hope rule of law still matters, but can't be complacent. Trump not giving up, going to appeal, going to attack judges, going to try find ways around ruling. If wins re-election or Republicans hold Congress, keep pushing, keep testing, keep trying expand presidential power beyond constitutional limits. This en banc decision important, victory for rule of law, but one battle in longer war over future American democracy. Outcome, far from certain. Pay attention. Stay engaged. What happens next? How Trump responds. How Supreme Court rules. How voters react midterms. Will shape America for generations. This story continues. Stay tuned.